what up, it's me, the Gigi. This week is a very different video, and if you saw the title, yes, this is for you who did not like the new Superman movie. And if you did, and you're watching, just sit back and relax, and yeah, you can listen all you want. I had a lot of time to think about the film. It was one of those movies where it took me a while to digest. It took me a week to get it out my mind, but it took like 2 days to really think about the film and how I truly felt about it. I discussed these are mostly critical, negative comments that I've heard about the film that people have said, and me trying to rebuttal them, I guess, or try to convince you otherwise, because I think it was a pretty cool movie, very different, not like any other Superman that we have came across. But yeah, there may be possible spoilers ahead, so if you did not watch the film, go ahead and watch it. If you did, continue watching. And yeah, I will be going through like the least critical to like most, so the most critical will be towards the end. But stay tuned, because halfway through the video I'm going to be showing you something hilarious that only DC fans would, or not just DC fans, but fans of superheroes in general would just laugh at, and I thought it'd be funny to add to this video. The first comment was about Crypto the dog, saying that it did not fit the image of Crypto the dog in the comic books and the cartoon. They've said that Crypto's behavior in the movie was a bit chaotic, and I have a couple of things to say about that. Well, before that, can you imagine if you saw the movie DC League of Super Pets? Can you imagine if they gave Crypto a voice in this movie and it was The Rock? Just let that sink in for a moment, because that would be hilarious. The first thing I want to say about that is, yes, Crypto does not look like how Crypto is supposed to look like. I feel like they tried to make Crypto look a bit more younger than how he's interpreted in the cartoon. I watched the cartoon when I was little, and I even had a coloring book of Crypto. They had Crypto looking a bit more fluffy. I know that James Gunn said he made the dog based off of his dog, which, fun fact if you didn't know, Crypto the dog was a CGI throughout the whole film. And another fun fact is that animal shelters had an increase up to 500% in a pet adoption. I don't know how that math works, because that's 500%, that's what it said online. I don't know how that works, but pet adoptions went up, and Crypto wasn't even a real dog, and a dog actor, They made him look like a Maltese mix. I totally forgot what the breed was, but Crypto is young in this one, and maybe as the franchise, hopefully the franchise continues, we'll see Crypto grow up. To me, in this film, Crypto was like a puppy. Didn't know the difference between Superman being hurt and Superman like not wanting to play, laying there on the ground, and trying to play around with him. Yeah, Crypto is still young in this, and obviously may not stay the same. I'm excited to see how they carry along Crypto in the future franchise. Next was about the film's overall, I guess, feeling. They said that the Superman was at times not too serious, and I think the reason people say that is because they're used to Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman. If we look, if you remember back when the movie came out, a lot of people made comments about the suit, Man of Steel suit, being very dark, and the interpretation of that Superman was a lot more darker than this one, and they already had that clear about the film. And Superman, Man of Steel, is supposed to be this hero, but at the same time has a bit of a dark side. And I would like to point out a few differences about this. So, if you remember, if you've watched Batman vs. Superman, in that film, they showed in the beginning, they showed Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne, that he was showing his point of view of the Man of Steel movie, trying to save everyone on the street, and all he sees is just destruction while Superman is trying to save everyone. So in his perspective, he wasn't really saving anyone. Buildings were falling, people were not, alive, casualties. And yeah, other than that side, we know for sure that this Man of Steel, Henry Cavill's Superman, was not able to save everybody. He cared for everyone, but there were damages in the movie. However, we see in this new Superman movie that David Cornsweet, I don't want to say corn sweat, that's wrong. Cornsweet. Yeah, Cornsweet. Now it sounds like I'm saying corn sweat. So we see in this film, he saves a lot of people. He saves a woman getting stomped by that giant near the beginning of the movie. We also see him save a squirrel, which, another fun fact, they weren't going to add that clip because the critics who watched the movie before it releases thought that the scene was insignificant, which I'm really glad they kept it in because it just shows how different this Superman is compared to Man of Steel, Henry Cavill's Superman. They show him saving a lot of people. He saved buildings from falling, or not buildings, from falling on people. The building, in the end, he did drop the building after everyone was saved. For sure, we know there was damage, but we also see he cares even for the little creatures like the squirrel. But yeah, the portrayal of this Superman is supposed to be a lot more lighter, and I really like that they showed that Superman really tries his best to save everyone. To me, it looks like he saved everyone. He cared about each individual there. The third thing, that was quite long, the third thing is about the symbol. A lot of people are complaining about the symbol, which honestly, I see why. I know. When I saw the symbol on his chest, the S, supposed to be S on the chest, it was odd for me at first, but I don't know, it's still bothering me throughout the film, so I honestly agree with that. But I know they took it from the comic book, from this version. They took it from that comic book, Superman, and they just made the colors, red and yellow instead of red and black. There's not much to say about the symbol. I kind of agree. Maybe they'll change it in the future. I don't think they will. I know his suit will probably change. Every single movie that a superhero does, they don't have the same costume from their previous movie, so we'll see what happens. But since this is about halfway through the video, I wanted to show you the hilarious thing. This was my dad's shirt. He gave it to me because it don't fit him. This shirt was from the Philippines. It's a cool shirt, right? Superman, DC, right? But then again, look at the tag, what it says. Yeah, it says Marvel shirts. Yeah, I hope that made some of you laugh because it definitely made me laugh. By the way, my dad knows the difference with DC and Marvel, and I don't even know if I'll wear the shirt. But I think it's quite funny to have and show. I hope you enjoyed that. And you know what, for those of you who don't understand, which I hope you do, DC is Superman and Wonder Woman. Marvel is Captain America, Iron Man. It's completely different franchise. It's like putting it's like if there's a McDonald's shirt and then the brand says Burger King or something. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's a way of looking at it. Or like Dunkin' Donuts shirt, but then it's Krispy Kreme on the tag. I don't know how else to explain it, but that's kind of what's going on. But the next point is too many friends, too many super friends, I'll say. He had a lot of people in the film other than himself. Some people said it felt like more like a Superman and Friends movie, not just Superman, a solo movie, which I see why they say that. But then again, they dropped us in the middle of a story. We didn't start at the beginning because everyone knows the origins of Superman, right? They dropped us right in the middle. And right in the middle, it's not like when Superman came, everyone else came at the same time. Everything just gradually happened. And when they dropped us in the middle of the story, there were already a few people in the Justice gang. And they even have the Hall of Justice, which I thought was super cool. Seeing that in the movie, they didn't even get to that part in the last Henry Cavill franchise, the past DC. I don't even know what to call it anymore. But it was super cool. I like how they just had this wallpaper in the Hall of Justice of all the past heroes, and I'm just excited to see what heroes are gonna come. We already know they're gonna have a Supergirl movie next year, hopefully, and they're gonna have Wonder Woman, and they really want to do their best to, incorporate as many heroes as they can for the next Justice League movie. And I know some people said they hope Robert Pattinson will be the Batman for this franchise. I honestly don't know. And I'll tell you why in a bit. But they say too many friends, but I don't think that's true. I think it just shows that Superman needs help, and he can't be the only hero saving everybody. You saw the little boy holding the flag. Yeah, he thought Superman was gonna come. We thought Superman was gonna come. It was in the trailer, but no, his friends came to help. I don't even know if they're friends. They're kind of like workmates, I guess, partners. But having them in the film just shows that a team is what they're gonna need to make in the future, and bigger threats are coming. He's gonna need people. But I feel like the recent Batman movie, the one that came out a few years ago, I feel like that sort of tone, especially for Gotham, I feel like it can work with this one because it just shows how different Gotham is from Metropolis and how different Batman is from Superman. Even though technically they're not so different, but they're kind of different, but they're not, but they are, It's something that they could work on, but I've seen online a lot that they're thinking of another Batman actor, which I don't know if that's true or not. The last thing I would like to talk about that has been mentioned, which I will fight for, not physically, I just mean like verbally, is about Supergirl. If you stay to the very end of the movie, the end credits, the post-credits scene, you would have saw Supergirl visit her cousin, and she came to pick up her dog Crypto, which she was just dog sitting for her. A lot of people said since she came in like drunk, and they can't get drunk in the regular yellow sun, they can only get drunk in red sun planets. She came in all drunk, and people were just kind of off about it. And I kind of wanted to put this into perspective. Think about it this way. So, Krypton, the planet, is about to explode, right? She was probably like 12, 14 years old. Supergirl, talking about Kara Zor-El. She was about 12, 14 years old, in between there, and she was tasked to take care of her baby cousin when they land on Earth, right? So she's in her pod. Superman's in his pod, or Kal-El is in his pod. And just think, as they're leaving the planet in the pod, of course her cousin is farther out, which is why it wasn't impacted by the explosion. But when the planet explodes, her pod gets impacted by the explosion, and she gets sent to the Phantom Zone, right? And that's where time doesn't work. That's why she's younger than Superman, you know, in the movie, after she's, you know, in the future when she's saved and everything. But imagine being stuck there, and your only task was to take care of your baby cousin, who all of a sudden saves you from the Phantom Zone and brings you back to Earth. You have to live your whole life, and your whole mission, your whole family is gone, and your whole mission is like complete now. Like, he doesn't need you. You just have yourself to take care of, and your dog. But like, that pressure is going to weigh down on her. And I feel like we do have live action Supergirls to compare her to. Helen Slater and Melissa Benoist. They did really great jobs in playing Supergirl, but this one is very different. They really go deep into the hardcore feeling of her just losing everything and everyone. And can you imagine when she has the suit on, they don't see her as like Supergirl, they probably see her as Superman's younger cousin. She's supposed to be older. She's now younger. So that's just something that probably ticks her off even more. Probably not, who knows, but that's my interpretation of the Supergirl that we saw. It did take me a while to understand her character. It took me 2 days also to just digest everything in the movie, and I personally think this movie has way much more to offer. Overall, I feel like each character is portrayed correctly. I really like how they were able to include as many super friends, but not a lot. I just call them super friends just to make it quick and easy to say. But I feel like this film has way more potential. It opened up a new universe that they can explore and everyone can enjoy. I really like the film. But yeah, that was my interpretation of the film, or me trying to rebuttal all the negative comments on the film. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. And before I forget, if you are thinking, hey, the Gigi, you usually do arts and crafts. Why are you talking about movies? To me personally, I watch a lot of movies, and I feel like it's a form of art. Just think about it. There are actors and actresses who have to memorize lines. They have their character that they're going to portray on a piece of paper or whatever, and they have to figure out how they're going to bring that into life. And they're probably the first ones to do it, or they're based off of other characters people who have done it in the past. They have to come up with their own way of making it their own unique character that's like for them to show on the screen. And then you have the director, producer, the writers, all the costume designers. They all have to come together, and there's even more. I'm just naming at the top of my head, just different people, different positions. They all have to come together to make this film work. These films take months, even maybe years to make, and it's only for like 2 hours, or like an hour and a half. Yeah, they need credit for it, and to me it's an art. I don't know how often I will be doing these kinds of videos, but I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next week. Peace. Ben Affleck, Bruce Banner. They showed Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne.